What is going on, Tender Crew? My name is Billy the Squid. Today we're going to talk about the new Elden Ring trailer from the Game Awards and then talk about it. Let's go.
It happened an age ago.
Okay, FromSoftware, George R.R. What happened an age ago, my lady?
But when I recall, I see it true.
An extra pair of arms. And there's the Elden Ring. It's on her finger, see? It's right there. Mystery solved, guys.
Wintry fog.
Wintry fog, winter is coming. You could not make this shit up. It is George R.R. Martin. They weren't fooling us.
The rune of death was stolen.
Okay, some horsebound Nazguls. No, not the blacksmith.
Began to fall. Starting with Godwyn the Golden.
Oh, poor Godwyn. Ew. Is he being corrupted?
America was driven to the brink.
Okay. Betrayal.
The shattering ensued, a war that wrought only darkness.
Yeah.
The Elden Ring was broken. But by whom?
Hey, there's our broski. In the first network test. Oh, big war, big siege, lots of giants. Big war, holy shit.
The demigods ever hoped to win by warring.
Get fucked, little humans. There's our Valkyrie. And whoever this giant absolute unit is.
The conqueror of the stars, General Radar.
Alrighty, I like this guy.
And the blade of Mikkel and Melania the Seven.
Why are they fighting?
These two
rival
were
kingdoms. That makes sense.
and locked horns in combat.
Oh! It's a good thing that was her fake arm. Oh. They both died?
But there would be no victor.
He's a Bulbasaur now. Or a Venusaur, I guess, with a giant flower.
And so, we inhabit a fractured world, awaiting the arrival of the Elden Lord.
Big Hat sister? Not Big Hat Logan?
Thou shouldst take the crown.
Oh, shit. That was a cool little closing shot. That's pretty neat. So I have a feeling that this is going to be the intro cinematic to the game. FromSoftware tends to like to throw their intro cinematics as like the last trailer. Not like the gameplay trailer, but the last cinematic trailer that they throw out. That tends to be the intro cinematic. They've done it with Dark Souls 2. They did it with Dark Souls 3. They're going to do it with this one as well, most likely. And that is what is going to be. It does a really good job of setting the tone of the game. And boy, out of everything that they've marketed so far, this is what definitely shows that George R.R. is like involved more than any of the other ones. George R.R. likes his Warring Kingdoms themes. He does it very well. And the world building kind of has that that feel to it. So let's watch through it again, kind of pause on specific keynotes, and let's get into a conversation. So if you see here, she has two pairs of hands, which makes quite a bit of sense given that Godric also is being shown with like multiple hands. That seems to be a recurring theme, at least from what they've advertised so far. It might just be this one kingdom that has that. But the thing I find interesting about this is she's got two pairs of hands here, and then at the very end, whenever she does her face reveal and stuff, there are two faces there. and they're both talking. It's very, very interesting. And obviously this is not confirmed to be our maiden, but she has the eye tattoo and stuff just like what our maiden does, only on the opposite side of her face. So I would be liable to believe that this over here is the maiden that we actually talked to, and she is like attached or a extension of the maiden overall. This is just what she uses to communicate with us Tarnished. So very interesting there. Let us go back and continue.
On a night of wintry fog,
Why do all bad things always happen during the winter?
the rune of death was stolen. And the demigods began to fall.
So with George R.R. being at the helm, it I don't want to say he's being unoriginal, but it does parallel other works of his, specifically Game of Thrones, where all of the bullshit happens when the big shot gets executed. We don't know if this big shot was an asshole or not. We don't know anything about him. All we know is these assholes rolled up into the castle and they're like, yo, stab, and it sets everything in motion. Assuming that they also were the ones who shattered the Elden Ring and caused the big Warring Kingdoms theme that we're seeing throughout the rest of this trailer. Let's continue.
Starting with Godwyn the Golden.
I'm very interested if Godwyn and Godric are somehow connected, because it seems like this body is going through some sort of transformation, and I would not be surprised if they end up
Queen
being
Marika
one
was
of the
driven
same.
to the brink. Or,
I also want to point out that this violin
starting with Godwyn the Golden.
gives me very Sekiro vibes as far as like that haunting violin.
Queen Marika was driven to the brink.
A queen was driven to the brink, assuming that this was her husband, and that just set her mad. Makes sense. And then we have the fell here.
Shattering ensued a war that wrought only darkness. The Elden Ring was broken.
This is a nice little scene here. I like, I'm just going to kind of pause it here. I like it shows that this, I'm assuming, is a meeting place of some type between the rulers of the lands. And once the Elden Ring was shattered, once whoever got axed, it's now desolate. He's placing the crown of the king there. And it just goes to show that diplomacy is not the answer anymore. I like the big look. It starts off with the tree, the like symbol of hope. And then as you zoom out over this entire landscape, it just gets more and more dire. And you actually see how desperate every situation is.
What could the demigods ever hope to win by warring?
So that last shot there, you see one drop down earlier. These are giant arrows from like either some sort of mechanical device up in the tower, but you'll see one here. And then whenever the camera fades out is being hit by another one.
The demigods ever
But
hope
this
to win
is
by warring?
like a large scale compared to what FromSoftware has shown us in the past. Typically, we have heard about wars in these games, most notably Dark Souls 2, the war between man and the giants. But we never actually saw it. We never saw any major notions of it outside of the giant memories, which were very tame. They were already localized inside the city. I can imagine something like that would happen after this breach happens, but we never actually get to see the full scale of war like what we're seeing here, which, again, George R.R. Martin loves his big battles. He loves his warring kingdoms. It makes very much sense. And this shot here, it ties together the two writers in a very, very symbiotic way. You have the similar feelings from like the Dark Souls, where you have like the upper ups. You have like in the Age of Fire and stuff, you had Gwen, you had the Witch of Izalith, all of them. But then it takes it to a more hostile level where they're actually in conflict with each other instead of trying to like help each other out and things just falling apart around them. They are actually in conflict here. And I think this whole cinematic here is done really well. And the fact that I don't know if she's specifically who we have seen in gameplay trailers and stuff, I would assume as much. Just because they're dying doesn't mean that they're dead. One way or the other, I have a feeling that after death occurs to these demigods, some sort of corruption is taking place, and we are fighting corrupted forms of them throughout the game. This is just a very, very hot take, broad spectrum idea that I could see happening, but I could very much see that happening without whatever power this Elden Ring has. Through death, they become corrupted in some way. Or it could be another cycle of reincarnation like what we've seen in the Souls games as well.
The conqueror of the stars, General Radar. And the blade of Mikkel and Melania the Seventh.
I don't know if these names are going to be important, but boy, is it fucking hard to remember names in anything that George R.R. Martin writes until you've been in it for a while. The names are just so out of left field, so unfamiliar, at least to my brain, because they're not stuff that I've seen in literature in the past, and nothing like even remotely similar to English naming dialects or anything like that. So it always takes me a while to get used to these names, so I'm sure we'll get very well acquainted with the lore of this game in the future. And this cutscene moving forward is just a really, really well done cutscene. I like that she's got like this brass prosthetic that she goes through. They clash, the arm shatters, and then she grabs this blade and still gets the job done, even at her own expense. It seems like she's like using her body weight to like drive it in, since she doesn't really have a fulcrum point anymore after it separated from her prosthetic.
There would be no victor.
And then he becomes the Venusaur, which is very different from the death that we saw of that character from the first trailer, where he just kind of dissolves. And this character here, it's...
Thou shouldst take the crown.
It's still really, really well done. And I think I'm absolutely correct where the spirit form here is what comes to us at the sites of grace and talks to us and does all this other stuff. And then her as a whole, this big hat lady, is going to be a very centralized character in this. But what do you all think? How did you enjoy the final cinematic trailer for Elden Ring? What all theories do you have for who these characters are and what purpose they are going to play in the final game? Let me know down in the comments below. If you want more Elden Ring or Souls-like content, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. But until next time, Tenda Crew, much love. Bye-bye.